remember watching Congress pass trillions of dollars during the COVID-19 pandemic and thinking to myself, we're going to be reporting on so much fraud that happens, and we've seen tons of it, not just with the unemployment system and $5.2 billion of overpayments in the state's unemployment system. But now we have an indication that there are fraudsters within state government that are abusing your tax dollars. And the headline that you'll find with my colleague Kevin Bessler in his most recent report, 47 Illinois Human Services workers fired, disciplined over pandemic fraud. And Governor J.B. Pritzker reacting to a question about this and how there's potentially even more on the horizon that could be let go or disciplined for committing fraud. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars in fraud committed. Here is Governor J.B. Pritzker being asked about this yesterday.
Well, let me be clear that anybody that has committed PPP fraud in our administration or not in our administration does not deserve to have a job working for the people of the state of Illinois. And we're going to make sure that not only are they rooted out and fired from their positions, but also prosecuted to the greatest extent of the law. So we're continuing to work with the OEIG in making sure that we're uncovering anybody that may be guilty of PPP fraud. And as you know, they've focused on people who applied for $20,000 or more under the PPP program. And so that's the focus here. Obviously, it causes a challenge whenever you're letting anybody go and you have a number of open positions anywhere. It happens that, as you can imagine, in one particular location, when you find out there are 37 people that have done this, they've obviously been talking to one another at work. Maybe somebody committed this kind of fraud and then tried to convince somebody else hey, I can show you how to do this. So my guess is that's what happened, though we'll have to find out what the final reports from the OEIG. So it's of concern, and we want to make sure that we're filling those positions as fast as possible. But, if someone commits a crime like this kind of PPP fraud, I'm not going to keep them in a position when they shouldn't be serving the public in any way whatsoever, and we have to fire them.
So again, the governor highlighting how, it's a problem when you've got 37 people at one location within state government, and when they're all let go, all of a sudden you got to fill those roles, and that's going to be a problem. But the governor, he's highlighting what happened with the state, and of course the Office of Executive Inspector General, showing that employees are facing discipline or firing for doing fraud for the Paycheck Protection Program. So this was at the Ludeman Development Center in Park Forest with 37 disciplinary actions, including 32 mental health technicians, 3 supervisors, 1 program coordinator, and a nurse. The Cook County Inspector General, so it's not just state government, you got Cook County, they found 25 county workers who found to have ripped off the federal PPP program during an investigation over the past year. But it's not just there, it's nationwide. Your tax dollars being wasted by fraud. There's been $200 billion in potential fraudulent aid during the pandemic, and that's just the PPP program. I think I saw somewhere else where it was, 17% of total tax dollars for the COVID pandemic being fraudulently spent. Are we going to get that money back? And of course, with the trillions of dollars that went out, you can see what it's doing to inflation and the real line economic consequence of just pumping money into the economy. But here we are, more than 3.5 years afterwards, looking at all the fraud there is. And maybe some people are going to be held accountable, but are we really going to get to the crux of it and claw those dollars back? Or are we only going to get compensated by having to possibly imprison people, costing taxpayers even more? It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY. Thanks for hanging out. You can always find more. Just follow me, Bishop on Air, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Make it happen, all right? Like, subscribe, share.